Today, we talk about how debt quietly took over the world. Not loudly, not with warnings, not with alarms, but slowly, silently, almost politely. Right now, most people think debt is normal. A credit card, a student loan, a car payment, a mortgage, just part of life. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Debt didn't just become common, it became necessary. And once that happened, everything changed. Because debt is not just money, it's power, it's control, it's time borrowed from your future. And the system that mastered it ended up mastering the world. The world before debt ruled. For most of human history, debt was dangerous. If you owed money, you owed a person. Your reputation mattered, your character mattered, and borrowing was rare. People saved first, they waited, they lived within limits. If you couldn't afford something, you simply didn't buy it. Life moved slower, but it was simpler. Then something changed. Banks learned how to turn waiting into profit and patience into loss. The invention of easy credit. The real revolution wasn't money, it was credit. The idea that you could have something now and pay for it later. At first, it felt like freedom. Why wait 10 years when you could enjoy life today? Why save when the bank would gladly help? Credit cards appeared, installments became normal, loans got easier, much easier, and the message was simple. You deserve this now. You'll figure it out later. That message worked. Debt becomes a lifestyle. Once credit became easy, everything adapted around it. Houses got bigger, cars got more expensive, education got pricier, and wages, they didn't keep up. But debt filled the gap. When income stopped growing, borrowing took its place. That's when debt stopped being optional. It became survival. The psychology trap. Debt doesn't hurt at first. That's the trick. You swipe a card, nothing happens. No pain, no loss. The brain doesn't register danger. Psychologists call this delayed pain. You feel pleasure now, consequences later. And humans are terrible at handling later. That's why debt spreads so easily. It feels invisible until it's not. The big lie about growth. Debt depends on one assumption, that tomorrow will always be better than today. More growth, more productivity, more income. But growth isn't guaranteed, and when growth slows, debt doesn't. That's when the cracks appear. The moment debt took control. At some point, the world crossed a line. Debt became so large that it could never be fully repaid, only refinanced, rolled over, extended, delayed. That's when debt stopped being a tool and became the master. Because when repayment is impossible, the system must continue at all costs. Why crises never really end. Financial crises are supposed to reset systems, but modern debt makes that impossible. If the system collapses, everything collapses. So instead, debt is patched, bailed out, printed over, moved around. Problems are postponed, and postponed problems grow. Money printing, the silent tax. When debt gets too big, governments print money. Not literally printing paper, but creating digital currency. This doesn't feel like a tax, but it is, because more money means less value per unit. Your savings lose power, your wages lag behind prices, debt survives, cash holders suffer. Who benefits from debt? This is important. Debt doesn't hurt everyone equally. People with assets benefit. People with stocks, property, and leverage see values rise. People who rely on wages fall behind. Debt quietly transfers wealth upward without a single vote. Why the system feels rigged. People often ask, why does working harder feel useless? This is why. Debt extracts value before you even see it. Interest first, rent first, taxes next. What's left is yours, if anything remains. Debt and time poverty. Debt doesn't just take money, it takes time. Extra hours, side jobs, constant stress. People stay busy but never ahead, always running, never arriving. That's not accidental. The illusion of choice. On paper, you're free. You can choose your career, your lifestyle, your future. But debt narrows those choices, subtly. You choose what you can afford to risk, which is less than you think. Why debt is hard to escape. Debt grows faster than discipline. Interest compounds, bills repeat, life happens. One emergency undoes years of progress. That's why debt feels sticky. Once you're in, getting out requires extreme effort and constant awareness. The normalization problem. The most dangerous part, debt is celebrated. Good debt, smart leverage, building credit. The language makes it sound healthy, but even good debt demands obedience. Miss a payment? Watch how quickly the tone changes. Education and the debt factory. Education was supposed to be the escape. Instead, it became an entry point. Students borrow before they understand money. They start adult life behind and learn to accept it as normal. That sets the tone for decades. Why debt loves stability. The system doesn't want chaos. It wants predictability. Steady workers, steady payments, steady consumption. Debt encourages routine. Routine discourages rebellion. That's not a conspiracy. It's incentives. Can the system change? Here's the honest answer. The system can't easily stop. Too many depend on it. Pensions, banks, governments, markets. A sudden stop would cause pain, so the system continues, quietly. What this means for you. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. Debt is a tool, but tools can control users who don't understand them. Understanding debt restores choice, even inside the system. The real escape is mental first. You don't beat debt with motivation, you beat it with clarity, knowing what debt costs, knowing what it limits, knowing when it's worth it and when it's not. Small shifts matter. You don't need to reject the world, you need to see it clearly. Delay gratification, question normal, protect flexibility. Time freedom is the real currency. The final truth. Debt didn't conquer the world with force. It offered comfort, convenience, speed, ease, and slowly replaced freedom with obligation, not because people were stupid, but because the system was patient. Closing takeaway. Debt is quiet. That's why it's powerful. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Once you see it, you can move differently. If this video helped you understand money in a new way, subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. We talk about money, power, and freedom clearly and honestly.